What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, Cody put out a post the other day, said, send us your boldest Colts takes for the 2025 season. Well, I'm going to go ahead and break down a couple of those from, he put it out like less than 24 hours ago and from when I'm recording this. And, he got quite a few comments, so we're going to go ahead and react to a few of them. And we might do a couple parts to this, so don't worry. We'll have a lot of this, but, this is the time of year to do it because obviously things are slow and it's overreaction season, right? All right. So here we go. First couple here, just to bring these up. Aiden Gent, one of the first comments, and says, Colts win the division through their defense. JT, Tyler Warren, DeForest Buckner, and Charvarius Ward make the Pro Bowl. Okay, so that's first bold take. First things first, winning the division through their defense. Again, I will say it, when it comes to the teams that can win the division, right? Clearly, Houston has had that under control for a while. And it's not just been the fact of their offense. They have the defense to match, right? The Texans' defense is probably a top 10 defense. So that's been one of the many reasons why they've been so successful over the last few years, because not only is their offense upgraded with their new quarterback, but they've also been able to put a defense in place to make it easier for them. And that will probably have to be what happens for the Indianapolis Colts. Again, you're not sure what's going to happen with your quarterback situation. Your defense is going to have to be better if this team wants to win the division. Now, as far as them winning the division through their defense, I like their defense. I think the Indianapolis Colts defense definitely has improved. But as far as them winning the division because of that, I would think the offense would have more control over it, but that's just me. And then as far as JT, Warren, Buckner, and Ward making the Pro Bowl, I'll tell you what, the numbers that Tyler Warren would have to put up to make the Pro Bowl would be insane. The other three, I can see it. Tyler Warren, that'll be interesting though. So definitely interesting. All right, let's go ahead and go to another one here. This one's kind of the exact opposite. Sad Colts fan in Cincy, Rip Jim, says Colts implode and results in both Ballard and Steichen getting fired. Peyton is hired as the GM, and then we draft Arch Manning number 1 overall. Now, I'll address the very end of this. If Arch Manning were to declare early, because if I'm not mistaken, he's a junior this year. This will be his first season starting as a college quarterback. So I have reservations about Arch Manning. I don't believe he should come out this next year. I think he should stay for his senior year and get all that knowledge that he can get to make himself better for when he's a senior. But who am I to, I don't know. I would guess not. As far as hiring Peyton Manning as the GM, don't see that happening. That's very bold. And the fact of the Colts imploding, here's the thing. Our team, our roster is too good to implode, in my personal opinion. I believe we have too many potential all-pro guys on this team to just basically implode, right? Unless Daniel Jones is absolute garbage. Unless Anthony Richardson didn't improve one single bit from last year, injured all the time, never able to play, and we're running our third string running back out there, or quarterback out there for the most part, then I can see it. But I think that you have too good of a roster as it's currently constructed to just implode. Like, we've seen the Colts implode only about 2 times in the last decade and a half. That was back in 2011 when Peyton Manning almost medically retired with his neck, didn't play all year, and the Colts were just bad because they didn't have their star quarterback, and their rest of their roster just wasn't very good. And then obviously in 2022, when the offense for the Colts was god awful, Matt Ryan was terrible, offensive line absolutely terrible, a coach that had felt like he had given up, a lot of different things happening there, right? I just don't see that as a situation where that happens, right? We could have a disappointing season, no doubt. But as far as imploding, that's very hard for me to sit here and think that that's what's going to happen, right? Okay, so let's keep going here. We got a few more here that we can get to. Like I said, I'm trying to space these out so we can get like a bunch more videos like this. AR wins MVP. We take the division and make it to the AFC Championship game, ultimately losing to the Baltimore Ravens. Okay. All right. We're getting into it here. This is what I'm talking about. Now, the funny thing is, Anthony Richardson, if he were to win MVP, then the rest of that does not sound so bold, right? Because if he was an MVP, playing like an MVP, you absolutely can win the division. You absolutely can make it to the AFC Championship game if Anthony Richardson was playing like an MVP. Now, the big part of this, and this is from Brandon Schofield, by the way, AR winning MVP, that's the bold take of this, right? And that might be the boldest of bold takes, man, because as much as I would like to think Anthony Richardson can win an MVP, he ain't nowhere close to that, man. Ain't nowhere close to that. So I'm not going to sit here and say that that's going to happen. So that is very, very bold. I will give it that to you. So far, that might be the most bold take. All right. Indy fan at N. Paulson on Twitter here. The Colts will win 10 games with Daniel Jones at quarterback, and he will throw for 3,800 yards and 30 touchdowns. Now, for Daniel Jones' stats, right, I want to look up some stats here. The closest he has been to 3,800 yards. So he's thrown for over 3,000 yards 2 different times with the Giants. He did it his rookie year, threw for 3,000 that time, and threw for 3,200 yards in 2022, that year when the New York Giants made it to the playoffs, and that was his last decent season as a quarterback, right? And also, there's only been one season where Daniel Jones has even come close to 30 touchdowns. Well, I will read this differently because it does say 30 touchdowns. Now, I'm assuming that he's thinking 30 passing touchdowns, which, again, in 2022, he had 25 touchdowns, but 10 of them were rushing touchdowns. In 2019, he had 24 passing touchdowns. Now, again, that number, that is a bold number, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he could do that. If Daniel Jones is the full-time starter all year long, 17 games, you're basically asking him to average about 230 yards, 230 yards a game, which, again, I think is very plausible. It could be very plausible. The Indianapolis Colts, they run the ball a lot, and that obviously can make impact for a lot of things. But Daniel Jones, with no wide receiver help his entire career, has twice thrown for over 3,000 yards and has thrown for over 20 passing touchdowns before, right? And he has a better offensive line now than what he ever had in New York. So, yes, it is a bold number. I don't know if he quite gets there, but that number is not out of the ballpark. That is very much doable if we see the best version of Daniel Jones. So, definitely crazy. Let's keep going here. A couple more here. Gavin Martin. Daniel Jones leads us to the playoffs, gets hurt, and AR is Super Bowl MVP. So we're thinking a Carson Wentz, Nick Foles situation from 8 years ago when Carson Wentz led the team all the way into the playoffs, gets hurt early in the playoffs. Nick Foles has to step in, and Nick Foles does his thing, right? So basically, the Colts version of that. I don't think that's definitely crazy because that would imply the Indianapolis Colts making the playoffs and going to a Super Bowl. So yes, that is crazy. Corbin Lewis, Tyler Warren winning Rookie Offensive Player of the Year. That's very plausible. That is very plausible, to be completely honest with you. This last season was more of a defensive draft. So a lot of the big name guys are more of your defensive guys rather than offensive players. Not a lot of big name wide receivers from this year's draft as normal. There's a lot more tight ends in this group. And Tyler Warren's going to get one of the most usages out of anyone. So very well, that is not too much of a bold take. That could very well be a thing. Let's do one more. We'll do one more, and I'll save the rest for when anyone else wants to do more. Christopher Corey says, JT Tuimoloau wins Defensive Rookie of the Year, while Daniel Jones takes the Colts to the divisional round, proving he's a really good quarterback when having a quality O-line, while AR unfortunately has another season-ending injury, putting him on the verge of being a bust. So there's a lot of different things here. So JT Tuimoloau winning Defensive Rookie of the Year, Daniel Jones taking us to the divisional round of the playoffs, and AR having another season-ending injury. So a lot of different things going into that. I mean, a lot of definitely bold stuff there. I doubt JT Tuimoloau gets enough snaps this year to be a Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's not going to be a starter. Even if he was, he's not going to get the share of the snaps that we would want him to have. As far as Daniel Jones taking us to the divisional round, that's not too crazy. Saying AR might have another season-ending injury, I certainly would hope not. So that's very bold to say. But yeah, that is a couple of the bold takes that you guys had for the Indianapolis Colts in the 2025 season. Let me know your thoughts and make sure to give me some more bold takes, guys. Even leave them in the comments if you want. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much. And as always, go Colts.